Hello. So not gonna lie, haven't really been watching my own videos, but uh, seems that okay, because I had to do a test recording and see if my fan could be heard in the background, but um, I realized that in order to hear myself in my videos, I kind of have to turn like my speaker up a lot to like hear myself at a comfortable level. Um, so I don't know if any people, if anyone actually watches this and thinks it's too soft, let me know. I could change it. But yeah, anyways, regardless, um, thankfully that was recording. We're going to be doing another problem today. Generate parentheses. Um, yeah, with the subset coding pattern. And so given n pairs of parentheses, write a function to generate all combinations of well-formed parentheses. Um, don't know what else I can really say about that. Kind of just we'll get to it, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. Um, anyways, yeah, let's get to it. So we have we're going to be creating a different class. This class will help us store a few variables that will help us solve the problem. So we're going to call this class parentheses, parentheses. We'll do parentheses instead of parentheses. Am I even pronouncing that right? Whatever. We'll do singular case. Whatever. We're going to write the init function. We're going to pass it self because we kind of have to. We're going to pass it a variable s that has the value which is supposed to store our string variable, um, and then a left which defaults to 0, and right which also defaults to 0. So basically we're going to store self.s is equal to s, self.left is equal to left, and self.right is equal to right. So basically this class will just store whatever string that we have, and it's also going to store the number of left and right parentheses that we have within the string, because this is going to help us make sure that our solution has the right number of parentheses, and they're also well balanced, right? Or like well formed. Um, yeah, so we'll make sure, that both of them will be fine together. And so here we're going to initialize a queue, which is dq. We just want to use this because we are able to pop left with it, so we can take off the front of the array. Q.append, we're going to pass in parenthesis. Parenthesis here because we want to, give it the value of like our empty string in a sense. But since we're using a class here, we have to pass in the empty class. And then we're going to create our result array here. And so we're going to, I guess, solve the problem now. So while the length of the queue is greater than 0, because in this solution, we're going to make sure that if we ever add to the queue, that means we haven't fully built out the solution yet. And if we have fully built it out, then we don't need to add it into the queue, and then we can just add it to the solution, right? So yeah, we're going to do current is equal to q.pop left. And so if current.left is less than n, then we need to add left parentheses, right? Because we don't have enough left parentheses because, well, our current.left is less than n. So what we're going to do is create a new p, which is a new parenthesis. We're going to pass in current.s plus the empty string, no, not plus the empty string, but like plus a left parenthesis, so current dot left plus 1 and current dot right, because we don't add any right parentheses, right? And we added one left parenthesis, and then in our current string we would just want to add the left parenthesis to it. And so here we can just do q dot append p, because if we ever change anything here, we'll never add anything to the solution, because if we just add a left parentheses and then it's less than n, we know for sure that we need to add a right parentheses in order for us to actually have a potentially valid solution, right? So we won't need to ever visit a condition where we check if if we should append anything to result, and if current dot right is less than current dot left, then that means the thing that we're looking at right now could add a right parentheses and could potentially become a solution. And since we do have more left parentheses than right parentheses, we are able to add a right parenthesis and potentially get us a solution. So here we want to do p is equal to parenthesis current dot s plus, now we add the closing parenthesis, closing parenthesis, current dot left stays the same, current dot right plus 1, because we add one right parentheses, right? And so if length of p dot s is equal to 2 times n, because n is the number of parentheses pairs that we want, right? So basically in each parentheses pair there's a left and a right. So then if we multiply the number by 2, and that's the length that we have, that means we have a solution here. So we will append p dot s to our result array, and else if we add a right but then we still haven't met the length requirement yet, then we can just add it to the queue, or like to the end of the queue, right? And then so this will just keep going until we have stuff in the queue, which is just appended here or here actually. And then eventually if we hit add a right parentheses and then we have made the solution, we can just build it. We can just whatchamacallit, we can just add it to the solution. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. And so if we just return res here, which means we return the solution, we'll be good. And so we can just run through a simple one. We'll run through n equals 3. I think that should be doable. Shouldn't be too long. So we start off with the empty string, right? And so we pop this off, and then we add the left parentheses to it, and then we add it back into the queue, right? And then so current dot right, since it's current and then we don't actually add it to the current item, we create a new object. We won't do anything here, right? So then this is just what gets added back in the queue, and current dot right, they're equal to each other because this is what we popped off, right? So that they're equal to each other, we don't do anything there. So now we pop this off, and then now we are still able to add a left parentheses. So we add this to the queue, and we also add this to the queue, because we go here, we're less than n, so we can add that in, because this is just plus 1 left parentheses, and since we have less right parentheses, we add that. Now we pop off this item, and then so here we're still able to add a left parentheses, so we make that there, and then we can add another right parentheses here. Oh my god, that's not what I wanted to do. We can add a right parentheses here, and then we get that. So now we go down here, we do this, we can add a left parentheses, and then we can add a right parentheses as well. Well, we can't add a right parentheses because it's already balanced, right? So we leave that there, and then yeah, eventually, okay, you know what? Now, kind of have some regrets. Wait, why did I do this twice? This, didn't I already added it though, right? It's just that. So then now we have the right number of that, so we can only just add a right parentheses now. So we get this, and then we just move on to the next one, which is this, and then so we can add a left parentheses here, and we can add a right parentheses as well. So we'll just copy this. Actually, we'll do this, then delete that, delete this. This is a hassle. So we get this one, and then I won't copy it to the bottom because we already met our limit of the left parentheses, so I can just add a right parentheses here. And then for this item, yeah, you know what, I just won't copy to the bottom anymore. For the first item, we can't add any more left parentheses because we already have 3. So we can just add the 1 right parentheses here, and then we just move on from that one. For this one, the first one here, we're still able to add a left parentheses, so we'll add a left parentheses there. And then we can't add a right parentheses because we have the same amount. And then so now we go to the back here, we get we can only add a right parentheses here, so that builds out this solution. So then we'll actually just make this our solution array, and so we get this now. And then from here we can just add 1 right parentheses, which gets us to this, right? And then wait a second, where did this one go? I failed tracing this. Okay, so at the very beginning, I should have this. And then when I get it back, I should append this, no? And then yeah, so I should slowly build out one of these. But I failed on tracing that. You know what? I apologize. I kind of give up on tracing it. But from here, if we submit this, what? Did I not do the thing right? Q, length of Q, current equals Q dot pop left. If current dot left is less than N, string attribute has, oh, whoops, because I appended the P thing here. Let me just make sure it runs. Okay, if I submit it now, there we go. Okay, so kind of just have to trust that I just can't trace, but it does work. I appended the wrong thing to the queue, did p.s instead of p, because p.s is just a string, right? Because we can't pass in the parentheses class into our solution because it's expecting a list of strings, but in our queue within like our solution, we need to pass in the class. So that's a big whoopsies. But yeah, so it actually does work. As you can see, it passed the test. I just don't know how to trace. But yeah, with that being said, I guess thank you for watching. And yeah.